Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today is when we're on the golf course, are you actually playing golf or are you thinking much more about your technique on the golf course? And I think this is a real issue. Okay, we're going to sort of flip golf around today. We're going to look at it in a different way. When you go to the golf course, it's all about really doing one thing, and that's controlling the golf ball. Simple as that. It's how you get the golf ball around the golf course, how you play the shots relative to the shot in front of you, and how many shots it takes you to get it into the hole. And I'm not saying you don't have a technique, you have to have a technique. But what we practice on the practice ground and on driving ranges, the only shot you're probably going to get very similar to that in a game of golf is your tee shot. And the main reason for that is you get a perfectly flat lie. And that's what you've got in those practice environments. So as soon as you get onto the golf course, the whole thing changes, because the likelihood is now you might be on a very slight slope, you might be in the rough, you could be off a tight lie on the fairway, you could be in the situation I've got here, where I've hit a shot down the left side of this hole, it's run through, and I've got a tree in front of me relative to where I want to go. And what I've got to understand is, how do I get the golf ball to get to the intended target? That's really it. So we're going to think of it sort of three processes, and the first thing we're going to look at is, what do we need to do with the golf ball? So if I look at this shot, I've got 150 yards to go. I've got a tree right in my way. And I know if I took the club that I would like to use, if there was nothing in the way, I'm going to hit the ball straight into the tree. So now that means I've got to do something different. And if all you've been working on is perfect technique, the chances are now you haven't got the shot to play this. Okay, you may have one that we're going to give you an option, but you may not have the option of the second one, which is actually going to get us onto the green. So I'd like to hit that mid-iron. I can't, because I'm going to plow it straight into the tree. So the second option that you may have, and if you've been working on your technique and the lie allows you to do it, is take something with a lot more loft that will get you up and over the tree. But the downside of that, if you're playing that shot, the likelihood is it isn't going to reach the target. And golfers don't like that. Golfers want to get the ball to the green, get it to the hole. So we can sort of take that club out of the equation. But it may be the right one in certain situations, because you may not have the technique. So if you've created this so-called perfect technique and you can hit a wedge nicely, you can hit it over the tree, but you're probably going to end up 30 yards short of the green. So now we bring us on to our third option. And the third option is take something with a lot less loft that I can now hit underneath the tree and get the ball to end up on the green. Now the problem is, most people think, well, 5-iron, that's going to hit it too far. So now this is the skill. This is what we're talking about. We're learning to play golf. We're learning to control the golf ball. And that's the art of the game. Knowing if you change your setup and change your swing to fit the shot in front of you, you can now control the golf ball correctly. So we're talking really here about ball flight and roll. And that's really important to understand, is how the ball goes through the air, what it does when it hits the ground, and how that's going to affect the shot. So if I was going to play this shot like a 5-iron, I'm now looking, can I play that a lower shot? I know I've got 150 yards. I can hit an 8-iron, probably 180. So I need to somehow lose 30 yards, about 20% of the distance. But I'm using it because I'm going to land it a much shorter distance compared to, say, an 8-iron, and then allow the ball to run out to the hole. So what I'm doing now is I'm playing golf. Now I need a technique to do it. So we're going to explain that technique, how I would then create that shot with the 5-iron. But the importance is, the starting point of every shot on the golf course is, do you have the imagination of how you're going to execute the shot? And do you understand how the golf ball's got to work? So the process number one is, visualize the flight of the ball. Number two, what does the club now need to do to create that shot? And then number three, how do I create a setup and a swing to make that happen? So that's what we're going to look at here. We've decided the only way I can get it on the green is to play a 5-iron shot, because that will give me enough power to get there, and it's going to give me the trajectory that will get the ball lower and get it underneath the tree. But I don't want to hit this as a full shot, because I know it's going to go 30 yards too far. So if we look at the setup, we're going to look at the setup now from what we call a face-on angle. What that allows us to do is show you how I'm going to change the setup to fit the shot. So now I'm playing golf, not playing technique. So as we start to look at the idea of the shot from this angle, what we're going to show you is three key things that I need to do. The most important thing from the shots we've mentioned back there, I've got to get under the limbs of the tree. So my setup is everything to create the flight of the ball, to create the idea of the height that I'm going to get from this shot. And I'm going to do that in two ways. I've chosen a 5-iron to hit the ball lower. And then the second thing I'm going to do is change my setup. So I'm going to put the ball in a slightly different position to again encourage the ball to go lower. And then on the swing side, remember what we said, we need a shot now that's going to go around about 80% of the normal power of the shot. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make an 80% swing. I'm not going to suddenly do a full swing at this. And these are the things you've got to learn. Now you can do this on the practice ground and you can take these ideas and you can watch the ball flight. But the importance is you need to do it, because if you're just going there working on your full swing, the chances are now you get confronted by the shot and you don't really know what to do. So let's look at those changes that we're going to make, okay? That's going to make that golf ball go lower. So the first thing I'm going to do is to give me the feeling of getting the 80% control on the shot. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grip a little bit down the club, okay? So by just gripping down only about an inch, it straight away says to me, I'm not trying to create so much power. That's the first thing I want to do. I don't want to be hitting this like a full 5-iron. Second thing then I'm going to do to get that ball flight, I want to hit the golf ball lower. We're going to move the flight basically towards the target on a lower trajectory. So if I'm standing normally, the club comes in and I'll now see the natural loft, but I want to hit this low. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the ball nearer my back foot, and that puts my hands slightly ahead of the ball. A little bit like if I'm chipping a shot, okay? What we talked about before about moving the ball forwards, I'm now putting my hands still level with the middle of my body, but what I've changed is the ball position that's going to help to keep that ball a little bit lower and get that ball going on the trajectory that we want. So I've done two things already. I've gripped down the club, I've changed the ball position, and now what I've got to do is think about how is the swing, what's the length of the swing to create the power that I want. So I'm feeling the swing there. Is that enough? Probably not to get at 150 yards. So now I want to be there. And the most important thing now with the swing is, because I want to keep it low, I need to keep that weight on my left side to encourage the ball to go forwards. That's the real important thing that we're looking for here. I've got to keep that golf ball moving forwards. We don't want the ball to go up, because then I'm going to hit the limb of the tree. So everything about this shot is to keep that ball low. But again, I'm imagining the ball fly. So I've gripped a little bit down the club, put it near my back foot, weight on my left side, and now I'm going to what we call punch that ball. I'm looking to land it probably 110 yards, and then from this trajectory, expecting it to roll 40 yards down the fairway. Okay, now looking at my shot as it goes through, we've probably ended up, might just creep on. But the great thing is I've now got that ball up near the green, but by imagining the shot, it's given me that chance. And that's the important thing that we need to see. If we get that idea, you're winning. So everything about golf is really understanding the ball flight. Start with the idea of the ball. What do I want the ball to do? How am I going to fit the idea of how the club strikes that ball? And then how am I going to get my setup and my swing to fit it? And on this shot, because we needed to keep it low, we've kept that ball going forwards. How we've done that is taking that club with less loft, putting it back in the stance, weight on the left side, and that then encourages that ball to go through. But this is the important bit. I'm now making a game that is playing golf. That's the priority. If you're working on perfect positions and this, I see it all day long on the golf course. When I'm teaching, when I'm out on the course with people, I see them all checking positions. Play the game of golf. Go to the practice ground and check those positions. As soon as you get out here, trust it. And if you start to learn to play golf, and as we said, more importantly, you start to learn to control the ball, you're going to have a lot more fun. When I've done this with my golfers, they've seen a dramatic improvement in their game. As soon as they're worrying about their positions in their swing, it's an indifferent game. We don't know what they're going to get. So as I said, learn to play golf, stop thinking technique, and you'll see the results you want on the golf course.